It's finally come. Today was Self-Writing Internet Day and ICP Demo Day. They did actually live stream the Caffeine AI demo as well, which is huge news. I don't think that was initially planned, but they did actually put that out. So that was really, really exciting. I did watch it live. I've just finished watching it, and so I decided to make this video for you to share with all this breaking news with you guys and kind of give you a better comprehensive look about what ICP or Caffeine AI specifically can do and just how it can impact everything that could be coming next for crypto and AI and generative coding and all this type of stuff. It was really pretty impressive. So I want to jump right in on that. They've just changed everything. So let's go on ahead and we'll get started. First off, we can see ICP actually doing quite well today. We're seeing obviously a decent pump throughout the entire crypto market, but we're seeing ICP maybe not necessarily leading, but up towards the front of the pack as we are starting to see crypto bounce a little bit today. Now, of course, on the week, we are still red basically everywhere throughout the market, but things looking pretty good. And we're seeing a lot of good stuff here, and ICP leading among it is good. Obviously, we do have a really strong bit of news kind of helping with that. So we do still need to be kind of paying attention to that and keeping that in the front of mind. But I wanted to share a little kind of snippet with you guys, in my opinion, showing one of the cooler and more interesting parts of ICP and the Caffeine AI demo. Really pretty interesting and cool thing to watch. If you haven't seen the whole thing, I would recommend that you do go ahead and watch the whole thing. But I am just going to leave and kind of show you a kind of a snippet of what we had seen kind of from this larger thing. It is over 45 minutes, so of course we can't watch the whole thing in this video, but I do have a really good kind of snippet that I think is pretty prescriptive here. So let's go on ahead and we'll check this out.
We're still doing very simple. Let's just create another one while we're doing this. So create a tennis lesson booking app for a tennis coach. Okay, see that? It says, oh, it's gone straight away. Didn't give it many features. Maybe we'll have to add more. Okay, we'll leave it building. Let's look at our blog while it's going. So you probably noticed that it's writing a lot of code for us. But so by using Caffeine, you become like a superhuman technical team in the sense that you can create these things very rapidly. But even more than that, you can work on multiple apps in parallel. So we predict that as people get very proficient with Caffeine, they could be working on even 10 apps in parallel. And it gives you a measure of the sheer productivity this thing can unleash. Okay, so let's look at this blog. Let's open.
All right, I just got to jump around here just because I'm trying to basically in this demo, he's showing how you can essentially like simultaneously code like 4 or 5 different projects. I think they went through and did 5 projects. So pretty impressive, but just to show you and kind of stick with the through line of this tennis app, I wanted to go through it, and I've just got parts and pieces here that I'm going to be picking out. So I'll just be kind of bouncing from one to the next.
See how that goes. All right, back to the tennis booking app. Here we go. Ooh, so this is interesting. Okay. So this one's got a login, which is nice. So we go here. We've got an internet identity set up. Okay, so far so good. Create a new time slot. Let's do that. Let's just say I'm going to do it tomorrow, 10 a.m. or something. There we go. I missed it, didn't I, the first time around? Okay. End time. Well, let's just do it like this. 10. No. 90 minutes, right? It's 90 minutes slot. Create time slot. Ooh. Let's have a look here. Coach dashboard. Manage bookings. No bookings yet. So, interestingly enough, it doesn't show the time slot. So let's go back, I think, and we'll say to Caffeine, display the available time slots so that students can book that. Can see. Correct. Do this. See and book them. Set that one going. Okay, we get back to the.
All right, and then we've got the next piece here. So that was obviously showing, how it looks from the coach's perspective. And then the next piece that we'll be looking at is how it looks actually from like a student's perspective if you are wanting to book a slot.
It's actually arguing with me? No. Students can already view and book available time slots in the app on the main page after logging in. Okay. Interestingly enough. Try logging out and logging in as someone else. Ooh, fair enough. All right. Caffeine was smarter than me. So I'm running out of things. Maybe, okay, here's an idea. Let's log out and go back in as the coach, which was the first person in. Okay. So what I should say is, okay, make it possible for the coach admin to view and edit available time slots. What else? Oh, and specify a court. There we go. So they're going. And how's the birthday party thing going? Okay, so that's the tennis booking app. So sorry, I'll go here. Let's credit that.
All right, and then we got the last one here, where we'll kind of close out this this tennis lesson booking app, and then we'll go and talk about kind of some of the details of what we saw and a lot of that type of thing.
Okay, we're good with the. Okay, so now we've got a new page for available time slots. Okay, and that's actually kind of the one thing that didn't work, but I think that's good enough for now. We'll fixate on that and keep going. So, new project.
And one thing we'll come back to is, I think he thinks that there was a mistake there. I'm not seeing that, so we'll talk about that after the fact as well. I think he was just maybe missing where it was. But the last thing I want to show you guys here at the very end is we could see they actually gave us a timeline for when Caffeine AI is going to be launched as well, which is super cool. So just under 30 days from now, we've only got to wait about a month, and then we'll see Caffeine AI coming out. Super cool. I know there was a lot of people who were thinking that it would actually get launched today. And so I think that could be why we're seeing some of the price action that we're seeing. We'll also talk about that here in a second. But yeah, so they also released the QR code if you want to get signed up. I've already gotten signed up. I'm definitely going to be very, very interested to check out what this looks like and how it ends up kind of performing real time. With demos, it's obviously always hard to know exactly how papered over it's been in terms of like, can that all actually just happen without like bug decoding? Do you need to decode or how do you not decode but debug? How do you debug? What's that process look like? Every time I've used things like ChatGPT or Cursor or stuff like that, there's always an aspect or a level of decoding the bug or debugging the code, excuse me. And we didn't really see much of that in here. So obviously they've done a far superior job to anything else, or there's just not quite the whole picture that we are seeing there. And so, but there is a lot of really, really cool things that we did see. Obviously it's hosted directly to the internet through ICP, of course. We're seeing it actually be able to handle some fairly complex operations with, kind of managing like user state and, who's admins, who's users, who's all this type of stuff. Managing bookings, editing bookings, changing things on the fly while still keeping. This was the other thing that they mentioned in a previous conference that I think is really cool is you can make changes to the site while still keeping the user state. So for example, in this, if we're going back to this tennis example, we could see that, we want to add an ability to like edit time slots, right? Okay, well, the ability to edit time slots was maintained there without actually wiping all of the data that we've seen. So they've been able to kind of handle some of the user state stuff like that as well, which I think is really, really cool. So the next thing that I want to talk about a little bit is just kind of what does this look like for price? What have we seen from ICP price? All that type of good stuff. So if we go back in, we can actually see right now, we saw some pretty volatile price movements. This is just on the hourly. We saw a really, really nice move back to the upside. And now we are kind of seeing that retrace. Again, as I always mention, we've seen an overextension on the RSI as well as an overextension on the Bollinger Bands. I almost did short here. I actually missed the top because I was watching the conference. but this would have been a fantastic short opportunity. Even though I am an ICP fan, this is pretty clear as day. We know what happens when stuff like this goes on. So we can see here, obviously, a really, really strong pump, and then we've been kind of selling back toward the mean ever since then. So, I think there was kind of a lot of that, pre-announcement hype and then some selling off. I think this hype could have been the expectation that we were actually going to see a release, which we did not. We just got an announcement of the release, which is in about 30 days from now. Again, in my opinion, still really, really good news. If you've been watching the channel, if you've been following my ICP content, you would have been aware that it's been my expectation the entire time that we would not actually see Caffeine AI get launched today. I had talked to some Dfinity insiders and some people who are fairly well associated with the project, and they had always kind of said that this was not kind of really in the cards to be launched, which is why I was so confident that we would not be seeing a launch happening today. So overall, though, I still think a really, really impressive demo, super interesting things going on here. And if we go actually and take a look and some other information here, we can actually see right here, we have Dominic saying, IMO, this will 10x within months. And we can see here, this is ICP being the highest in terms of average TPS, and he thinks it's going to 10x from there. Now, of course, if we do see Caffeine AI blow up and take off like we could potentially see it, I think that's very fair to say. I think we will be seeing this doing 80 to 100,000 transactions per second, just because of all of the compute and all of the information that's going to be needed to be transmitted through on-chain. And so, I think there could be a really, really strong possibility of this. So we'll have to see. Obviously, nobody knows what the future holds, but price so far, I think being a little bit more of the kind of the buy the rumor, sell the news type of thing going on right here. If you're familiar with that type of trading, this probably would have been some pretty easy profit taking. But overall, if we kind of zoom out a bit and look at the wider chart, this is going to go back to kind of what we've talked about for a while now, which is we haven't really seen much strength coming out of the ICP chart. I do think that this hopefully could be a good opportunity to kind of spark some optimism and some kind of increased positive sentiment into the ICP chart. Obviously, we don't know for sure. There are no guarantees in life, but we can see if we just kind of look over the past several months, not really the prettiest of picture here. Now, of course, this can always change over time, but what we've seen so far is just kind of a there's a lot of selling pressure on this chart. And I do think that's because Dfinity does kind of lay off some of their tokens. And so there is kind of that built-in selling pressure, which makes it really hard for the token to pump over time. Token pumping over time is going to be fully dependent on usage and essentially interesting things being created. And depending on the kind of the reception and how Caffeine AI works and a lot of that type of stuff, that could be the piece. But at least so far, we haven't really seen that. And so a lot of what we're seeing is purely just kind of buy the rumor, sell the news type of stuff. Now, if you are interested in trading ICP, doing anything like that, obviously we do have that link in the description below for BTCC. BTCC is a great place to trade. They are also doing that 10% bonus on first-time deposits, which is a fantastic deal if you ask me. I think it's a really, really good place to start if you are interested in kind of getting, dipping your toes in and starting doing some of that trading. They also do have that demo account, so if you're the demo mode, if you are wanting to kind of try your hand and maybe try out various strategies, do things kind of walk before you run type of thing, obviously you can feel free to do that as well. They have that here in BTCC as well. So anyway, feel free, take a look in the description below if you are interested. But after that, that's kind of the news we've got today. I think in my opinion, or as far as what we've seen so far, I'm very, very pleased and impressed with what we saw out of Caffeine. I'm actually kind of going to be looking to get my hands on it just to see kind of the difference between demo and like actual mode, just because there almost always is a difference. And I'm not saying that ICP is unique in terms of doing this. I think basically everyone does it, but I think that's going to be the real key is get some people involved that aren't in there, can ask their own questions and do their own things and solve their own problems and see if it's useful for them. If it's useful for them, then these things are going to go crazy for ICP. So I'm very, very interested to see. I think ICP and Dfinity really have changed everything with this. I think it'll be very interesting to see kind of what the next couple of months holds. Again, I'm kind of maintaining my position that the future of the ICP chart is, at least in the kind of medium-ish term, largely dependent on the release of Caffeine and how it does. If it does very, very well, I think we'll see some absolutely stunning movement out of the internet computer price and movement, all that type of stuff, marketing, adoption, people talking about it. All of this is going to go quite crazy in my mind if we do see kind of a lot more movement around this in the near future. If it doesn't, probably going to be more of kind of what we've seen already. Selling off, not really too much marketing, not really too much interest, general bearish sentiment, some of that type of stuff. So that's kind of how I'm looking at this. And it's generally what I'm kind of seeing out of this whole ICP type of situation. So overall, that's kind of what I'm looking at. Hopefully the information in this video was useful for you. If it was, a like and a subscribe really, really does help me out. If you have any comments, questions, thoughts, feelings, anything like that, also feel free to drop those in the comment section below. I do try to read and respond to all of those. So if you have anything that you want me to see, that'd be a great way to do so. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.